the All-State Sugar Bowl. Please turn off all cell phones. Today's press conference features head coach Kalen DeBoer from the University of Washington and head coach Steve Sarkisian from the University of Texas. At the conclusion of this press conference, we will have photo opportunities with the coaches, as well as the All-State Sugar Bowl trophy and representatives of the bowl. We'd like to start with a brief opening statement from Coach DeBoer.
Yeah, you bet. Good morning. Just great to be here. It's been an awesome week. Our guys, I asked them yesterday, and they said it's been flying by, so I guess that's a good sign. They're having fun and enjoying the moment that comes along with being in this position. So proud of the way our guys have handled the work, whether it be before we got here or once we arrived, and just ready to play. It's a long month, a lot of work. Coach Sark and I were just talking about everything that happens here in December, but it's been a great month for our guys and leading up to this game. But I also want to congratulate Coach Sarkisian with the work he's put in. We played a year ago, and you can just see the growth and development of the football team he's overseeing, and the staff's obviously done a great job there. So we're looking forward to a great battle. It's going to be certainly a challenge, and Coach Sark's done a great job of getting his team to this point here this year. So,
thank you, Coach. And now Coach Sarkisian.
Well, good morning, everybody. I think a lot of what I'll have to say is going to echo Coach DeBoer, but this has been a great week for us. I'd just like to thank the Sugar Bowl, their representatives. The hospitality's been tremendous. The efficiency that we've been able to work with at the hotel, at the Superdome, to make our players' lives as seamless as possible, to enjoy the experience has definitely shown out to be that way. I do again echo Coach DeBoer. This has been a lot this month, so it's finally fun to be a day away from the ball game. I know that our players are excited to play in the game. They're looking forward to it. They feel like they've earned this opportunity to be in this position, and they're excited for it. I would say, as far as University of Washington, Coach DeBoer, they got a heck of a team. We know that firsthand from a year ago. Got a ton of respect for that program, that university, and my time there, but even more so for the job that they've done over the past couple of years. They've assembled a great team, a great staff. It shows on tape. They win a lot of games. They win a lot of close games. I think that shows a sign of leadership and culture that they have there. And so it's going to be a great challenge. It's going to be a great game. And what a setting for college football, primetime Monday night with all the eyes on us.
Thank you, Coach. And now we'll open up the floor to questions. Please wait for the microphone to ask your question. And once again, please identify yourself by name and media outlet. And we'll start right here in the left side on the aisle.
Good morning, Steve. Eric Henry Horns, 24/7, was speaking with Jordan Whittington twice throughout the week, and he said something I want to get your thoughts on. He said a lot of the young guys on this team, they're cognizant of the moment. They aren't taking this moment for granted. They're understanding that they don't have 2 or 3 years to try to get back in this position. They're cognizant of what they can accomplish this year. I was wondering if you could expand on Jay Witt's comments a little bit.
Well, I think that to get to this stage in a season is really hard to do. There's only 4 of us left, and the 4 teams left are all very good football teams, and there's probably another 6 or 7 teams that all are saying we should be in that position and watch what we would have done. And so, like I was saying, I think ourselves, University of Washington, we've earned the right to be in this ball game, and it's an unbelievable opportunity, not just for this season, but I think for anybody throughout their career, whether you're a player or a coach, because you never know when you get this opportunity again. And so I think his messaging is, if I'm understanding it correctly, is like cherish the moment, cherish the opportunity, don't take it for granted, because you never know. We could have a great team next year or 2 years from now, but because the way the chips fall, you don't get into this Final Four. So, and I understand that the playoff is looking to change and expand in the next year or two, and however that looks, none of us really know. So to be in this position this season and today, I think is one that we definitely don't want to take for granted. We want to cherish the moment and make the most of it.
Right side on the aisle. And please identify which coach you're asking the question.
He talked about the guys getting really dialed in 24 hours before the game. What do you do to get dialed in?
I relax. I don't, I get dialed in by being around our players, being around our coaches, finding my own rhythm, my own routine. But, I'm not the guy that wakes up at 4 a.m. and goes for a 10-mile run. I can promise you that. I just look at me. So I just kind of go with the flow, and that gets me dialed in when I find our own rhythm. And I see our players in their rhythm and our coaching staff and everybody on board. That kind of gets me in the space of it's time to go. And we got a long way to go still. This 7:45 kick, there's a lot of time between now and then. And I think that's one thing that we need to be aware of is not trying to get too high too soon, right? You have to build for this. And so, hopefully we're in the right frame of mind when that ball's kicked off.
We'll go to the left side along the aisle.
Yogi Roth, Pac-12 Network. Really for both of you, if we were to walk around your hotel tonight and talk to members of your staff, your players, and we were to ask them, hey, what's the philosophy of the program? What matters most around the program? What do you think they would say within both of your respective programs?
Yeah, I think hopefully our guys would feel like it's a player-led program. It's one where the coaches give the direction and show the roadmap to success, and show what accountability looks like. Show provide opportunities where we can build family amongst and a brotherhood amongst our team. But that in the end, our program's brought to life because of the ownership that our guys have in how we do things and what we do. And that accountability isn't just coming from the coaches, that's from the players to each other. So I would hope that they would say player-led, that there's a culture of, family, accountable, toughness, and everything that we do, both on and off the field.
Yeah, I would say for us, I would imagine one of the first things out of their mouths would be our culture. I know that because the players have put so much time and effort into our culture, I think that they take a lot of pride in that. So I would imagine that would be one of the first things out of their mouths. And I'd say the second thing would probably be the standard. They understand there's a standard to which we do things here on and off the field, in the classroom, in the community, whatever that is, that they hold each other to. And so those would probably be two of the first things that would come out of the mouths of the majority of our players.
We'll stay on the left side and along the aisle.
Yeah, hi, Ashley Adamson, Pac-12 Network. Kalen DeBoer, first of all, congratulations. I'm curious, it's watching your team, it seems to me that they thread this really delicate needle of being able to lock in and have this complete, intense focus and yet also play free and loose and with joy. I just wonder how you, I don't know if it's you cultivate a culture where you are playing with that freedom and that joy, but also being able to keep the pedal all the way down, and how rare is it?
Yeah, I think it always comes down to communication, and we are very intentional, not just in season, but out of season when the work needs to be done. The guys always say the work is the work, and being able to flip the switch from having a great time in the locker room before you walk out on the football field for practice, and being able to flip that switch and go to work, and understanding that the preparation is what's going to lead to confidence and your success and production on game days. So I think that's a big piece of it, is just our guys, really, us communicating and talking about it, being intentional. And, the maturity of our football team, I think, also helps us maybe go above and beyond maybe most teams. They've put a lot into this. They've invested a lot of time. We have 9 sixth-year guys in the program that have poured a lot into this program. UW, even other 6-year guys that have maybe joined us, Michael Penix, for example. And so these guys, don't take anything for granted, much like the question that was asked earlier. They are certainly very, cognizant of the moment we're in. They've worked hard to get to this spot. They've made sacrifices to stick around another year and get to this Final Four and this opportunity to compete for a national championship.
All right, we'll stay on the left side in the middle.
Lindsay Plotkin, the Daily Texan. For Coach Sark, How have you been able to keep your players focused with such a long break after the Big 12 championship and this week being here in New Orleans?
Yeah, I think a couple things that we've done over this month is tried to compartmentalize the month. When we got out of the Big 12 championship game, I felt like we needed almost 2 full weeks to, one, recover. That was a long grind. That was a long season. It was a physical season. We had bumps and bruises just like every other team in the country. 2, we were heading into finals, and I wanted to make sure that our guys did a great job finishing up school with papers and taking their finals. And 3, I think they needed a little time away from us too. As players and coaches, when you go through that long of a season through August, sometimes getting away a little bit and then coming back together was important. So we did that for almost the first 2 weeks. We came back together and then had almost training camp-like practices or spring ball type practices where it wasn't about game planning. It was just keeping our competitive juices flowing and going against one another good on good. And then we started to get into the game plan, and we started to give it to them kind of in small pieces to keep them hungry for more. And then we took a little bit of a break for Christmas, and everybody kind of went home to see their families. And then when we came back here, it was all into this was a business trip. But in the end, I want to make sure that our guys enjoyed their time here, and I appreciate the leadership on our team for what these guys are doing. 2 different times this week, I've kind of gone down by the player hospitality suite in the evening, and it almost feels like our entire team is in there together. And as a coach, that's what you're looking for. You're looking for that bond. You're looking for that connectivity with your team. We don't have a bunch of kind of lone wolves out there running around. Our team is sticking together. To me, like I said, I think that speaks to our culture, that these guys are focused on the task at hand and they're doing it together.
We'll stay on the left side.
Kirk Bowles from the Austin American-Statesman. Steve, would you call Coach DeBoer a big trick play guy? And everybody knows you've thrown touchdown passes to your defensive tackles. Do you go back to his Sioux Fall days to check out what he's running?
Well, I'd call Coach DeBoer a good coach. I'd start with that. Excellent schemes, and they tax you a lot of ways, from the run game to the precision passing game to the play action pass, down the field shots to the trick plays. And I think that's a sign of a really good coach, that he's got versatility to their scheme, and they keep you on your toes. You have to defend all of that. And I think, like I said, I think that's a sign of a really good offensive football team. That's a sign of a really good coach, which Coach DeBoer is, and he has been throughout his career. And it definitely shows up with this team at Washington. They've got the scheme, and they've got the players to execute it. And I think, put those 2 things together, that's why they're a very dangerous team.
We'll go to the right side, the far back.
Chip Patterson, CBS Sports. This question is for both coaches. You mentioned coming in here that you've been talking about the last month and everything that you have to balance. When the playoff expands, that first round is going to start on December 20th, which interestingly enough was the early signing period. So do you have any suggestions to the other coaches and the other staffs that are going to have to go through trying to balance everything that goes into a busy December?
Go ahead.
I don't know. This was really challenging, especially those first 2 weeks coming out of the conference championship games, which we obviously both played in. I'd have a hard time trying to imagine having to prepare for a playoff game and have signing date and talking to players on your own team about if they're thinking of going in the portal, trying to look at who's going in the portal from other schools, having other coaches that just got new jobs, trying to hire coaches off your staff. So that there's a lot in that month. And so I'm hopeful people that are a lot smarter than me can figure out a calendar that best suits what college football is today. I think the calendar that we had was very good for the original model, but that model has changed dramatically. Early signing period changed it. The portal changed it. But because of early signing period, coaches are getting fired earlier so that schools can hire new coaches to recruit to that early signing period, which now exposes your own coaching staff to getting hired and going somewhere else. So there's a lot of moving parts going on right now in college football that I hope people are sitting down and really being thoughtful to what is best for our sport right now in the timing of some of these things. I don't have all the answers. I don't pretend to right now, but I do know it was taxing for us, and I think to speak for Coach DeBoer on this one, I think for them as well, that I'm hopeful it's only gonna be more with an earlier game. So hopefully they can figure out a better mechanism to get all this done.
You saw how quick I was to push that question to Coach Sark, right? I thought some great explanation of kind of what we've been through as well in December here. And, I think, we're so in the moment right now with what our season is and the schedule is now. But I know thinking ahead and understanding that a year from now there will be another game added here in December earlier, you start thinking about those things. And just like Coach Sark said, I don't have the answers right now. Certainly, I think as coaches, we need to be open to working together here in the months ahead. To have input and come up with ways to try to always improve it. And I think it's, you always got to think that it's going to evolve, and having tweaks here and there every year. Because there isn't probably a perfect model. You just live and learn and try to continue to improve things. So, again, I don't have the answer either right now. It was a crazy month, especially the first probably 3 weeks. And, like Coach said, getting ready to play a game on December 20th, one that means something as far as going to working your way to a national championship, that seems pretty taxing, just thinking about that component and that possibility.
All right, we'll stay on the right side along the aisle.
Roger Wallace, KXAN TV Austin. Coach Sark, with this Washington team, what are some of the keys you need to see from your guys on both sides to combat what they do?
Well, I think the first part, one thing that gets lost when you watch Washington, everybody wants to talk about Michael Penix, the receivers, and the high-flying, explosive plays and all that. This is a physical team. And so I think the level of physicality in which we play the game is important in this ball game. I think naturally they're a big play, explosive offense. How do we try to minimize those to the best of our ability? How do we on our end try to create some of those? This is a very opportunistic defense. They create turnovers, protecting the ball. The ball will be critical. And then knowing that having a month layoff, that our players can find their rhythm in the game as quickly as possible, having not played for about a month.
Go with the left side.
I'm Mike Burrell, Seattle Times. For Kalen, I'm just curious, as you go into the game tomorrow and tonight, what your temperament is like. I mean, as you're getting ready for bed tonight or whatever it may be, I mean, are the butterflies starting to crop up, or are there nerves there? How would you describe as a coach who's going into a stage like this, what you're feeling in this moment?
Yeah, I think, you're just trying to make sure that all the preparation for the guys tonight, and we'll have some meetings, this evening, this afternoon and evening, and a chance to get together as a team and I think there's always perspective, right? And I think that's what's helped our team, and I referred to the maturity that we have, but understanding what the keys are to the game and the things and what that looks like tomorrow with our schedule leading up to kickoff, and just them feeling confident that there's going to be nothing that's coming their way that they weren't alerted to. The preparation for the game has been ongoing for a couple weeks now, and so they're pretty well versed in what to expect and what our plan is. But I hope our guys, just like we've always talked, trust and believe in the preparation they've had. And yeah, there should be a few butterflies and just probably more of a excitement, to get to kickoff. I think having done this for so many years, you get to that first snap, that first play, and then you just kick into coach mode, player mode, and you're back to doing what you've done for hundreds of games, and so obviously there's more at stake, which makes it, more exciting, and all the pageantry around the game, certainly that doesn't fall on us and get lost there, but man, it comes down to playing the game when the kickoff happens, and there's excitement around it, but our guys are going to hopefully be in the mindset to just cut it loose and let it be, and trust and believe in who we are, and let the results take care of themselves.
The back left side.
Stand up so you guys can see me. Ralph Russo with the Associated Press. For both of you, unique paths here. When you look back on your careers, was there ever a point, maybe when you were riding buses in South Dakota, or you had a setback in your career like you did Sark, where you thought, this wouldn't be possible for me to be in this position? Maybe you looked at the playoff game and thought, I wonder if I'll ever be able to do that.
Okay. Yeah. Hell yeah, I did. Jeez. I was out of work. I couldn't get an interview. Never mind a job. Never mind thinking about the college football playoffs. So, sure it did. And I think that's what makes part of this journey with this team this year probably so gratifying. Naturally you appreciate the commitment that these guys put forth and all of that. But when you take a moment to reflect, like I'm doing right now, you think back to that moment when you, like I said, you don't have a job, you can't get an interview, and you're just trying to get back into the profession. Never mind thinking about being here with an opportunity to go play for a national championship. So I think part of that puts things into perspective, in that you appreciate the opportunities that you get, you appreciate the people that you're around every day, and you try to pour into those people. And when you pour into them, sometimes you get results like this, and you get on teams like this, and you get to be part of special seasons like this. So very grateful and thankful for the opportunity here from the University of Texas, but also from the opportunity and appreciation for these players and the staff and the work that they've done to get us to this point. So it's fascinating to think, the journey that me personally, that I've been on to get to this point. But I'm hopeful that my story can serve as some sort of, motivation to others. We don't have to stay where we are in life. Like if we have our goals set on something, and we live a life of doing things the right way, and do the next right thing, and treat people well, and work hard, be disciplined, be focused, hold yourself accountable, be committed to something, have some mental toughness to overcome the adversity that we have, we can change, right? And life can change, for the better, and that's no different for our players either. So hopefully I can serve a little bit of a model of that we can change the narrative for ourselves, and that we can build towards something even greater than we have right now. And like I said, there was a moment there where, yeah, for sure I thought that way, but not anymore. Here we are.
All right, we'll go to the right side in the front row.
Chip Brown with Horns247.com. For both coaches, how have your teams changed the most since you played a year ago?
I think probably just another year of being in both offense and defensive systems, special teams as well. I think I think we've continued to improve it with our special teams play. I think our defense, I think the latter part of last season started picking up some steam, and has continued just with that consistency here this season. I think offensively we've become, not just a pass first and only pass. I think at the end of last season we got that balance towards the end of the year, and this year as we had a couple new pieces to the offensive line and even at running back. I think here the second half of the season, we're a different team that way as well, with the feeling that we can play a physical style football and run and pass equally effective. So, I think those are the areas. I think just everything is just raised. We've just raised the bar in all areas. A lot of it has to do with just the continuity of our coaching staff and the continuity of the players that are out there making plays on game day.
Yeah, I would say for us, probably the maturity of our team has really improved. You know, a year ago, we were relying on a couple, 2 or 3 leaders to kind of lead, which we all know. You know, Bijan, Roshan, DeMarvion, those guys were great leaders in our program. And as they moved on, there was a group of guys that really had to step up. And I credit them because they've done it, you know, whether on the offensive side of the ball, whether it was Quinn, JT, Christian, Jake Majors, Jay Witt, Xavier. Those guys have really stepped up. Defensively, you know, what Sweat and Murphy have done, you know, where we had Coburn and Morrow a year ago, for them to step up, Jalen Ford, you know, Jaron Thompson, Jade Barron, those guys have really stepped up and have like I told them going into the season, they didn't just buy into what we were talking about. They elevated it. And I think, to me, that's probably the biggest change on our team, is that we don't have 115 guys looking at 3 to lead them. I feel like we've got 30 to 40 true leaders on this team now, that it's kind of spread throughout, and guys are holding each other accountable on a much different level than we were a year ago at this time.
We have time for one last question. We'll go to the left side in the front row.
More Richardson from OrangeBuzz.com. Coach Sarkisian talked to Jalen Ford, Christian Jones, and other guys, and they said like the moment they really started to believe in you guys as a staff really occurred to that Alabama loss the previous year. Do you feel like that was the moment that you felt like that the guys started to believe in it? And if it was, then how important was it? Even though it was a loss, how important was that moment?
Well, I think naturally, you know, in year one was a really difficult season in that we were trying to turn the ship right in the right direction, and we lost a couple really tough games against good teams, and we were struggling to kind of get our footing back. And you end the season 5-7, you're wondering, is this the right path? As a player, as a coach, I felt great about what we were doing. I knew it was going to be a process. So when year 2 came and we had a great offseason, I felt like we had a really good roster, and we played Bama earlier in the year with a very talented team with Bryce Young and Will Anderson and that crew. To play them the way that we played them, I think for the players it was like an aha moment in that everything Coach is talking about we actually are capable of. Now we have to put the final pieces together to really learn how to finish. And that was a whole process. That took a whole nother year to really get that done for us. But naturally now I think there is a level of belief in the fourth quarter of these games when the games are tight that we can find a way to win, that we're versatile enough to find a way to win in whatever phase, offense, defense, or special teams, to make that play in that critical moment. So I do think there's something to be said for playing those types of games early in the season, because it does give you gives you a sense of a little bit of a bar of where you're at, where you need to improve, and what another one of the best teams in the country looks like, and how you measured up against them early in the season.
Thank you, coaches. At this time, we will set up for photos.